तो वेलकम बैक आफ्टर द ब्रेक ख़वातीन हज़रात ब्रेक से पहले आप ऑलरेडी सुन चुके हैं Humble the Poet की मौसीकी की एक छोटी सी झलक. We're going to get you some more of that मौसीकी coming right now. But उससे पहले थोड़ी और बातें करते हैं. Talking about sort of your journey from the beginning onwards, when you started up, did you expect the amount of popularity that has come your way?
No, not at all. Like I was working as an elementary school teacher, and I was kind of doing this on the side. I kind of I enjoyed going to spoken word poetry events and slam poetry and what have you. So this was something that my creative outlet, you know, I'd go to work during the day and do this kind of on the side. And when I released the track Voice for the Voiceless, I created this little makeshift video with text. And my face isn't on there. I didn't even go by the name of Humble the Poet back then. And whenever I went places, people would know I was the guy that made that track. I didn't even know how. But it really touched upon a lot of things, and it referred to people that they knew, and a lot of people, it affected them on a personal level. So once that connection was made, and you know, I kind of worked on a couple of more tracks and found some like-minded individuals who could make some beautiful music. You know, kind of sat down like, hey, maybe I can, you know, pursue this a little bit more seriously. And started a website, started releasing music every day. Started, you know, putting that music together and releasing projects, and you know, the rest is history, I guess.
What's changed over the duration of this success that keeps on increasing every day?
I've traveled dramatically more in the last couple of years than I have in my entire life. I've met so many beautiful people all around the world, and it's awesome to pull out my BBM and somebody around the world's awake at all times, and I can kind of bug them. I've learned so much. I think what I realized is I really love traveling and learning from people, especially being in North America. We have such a center of the world mentality. So when you once you leave, you know, and I spent two months out in India, just seeing different perspectives, different ideas on life, you know, alternative views on things. It helps me grow as a person, and that's something that I really need to do. I need to be a lifelong learner. So I think those are the benefits of it. And obviously, you know, working in any type of industry or business, there's obviously, you know, it's a double-edged sword, and you have to deal with you know, a couple of not so honorable individuals, and you know, you have to weed through them. I've had, you know, quite a few victories, but quite a few, you know, defeats on a personal level, what have you. I've had to sacrifice a lot to get here.
Absolutely.
And people won't see that, but that's okay.
What are your thoughts on nonconformity?
I think obedience is death. I think the idea of conformity comes from people who are so afraid of their own power to change things. They want to go back and be like, well, they knew what they were doing because we're still here, so let's just do what they said. And there's always going to be people who don't prescribe to that mentality, who will always be excluded. You know, so I think that we should, you know, not really listen to those of the past, but instead seek what they were seeking. And you know, and we're evolving. And what people also need to understand is, you know, we can participate in the culture, but we can also contribute to it. You know, so I have enough confidence in myself to say that I want to contribute to culture now. I want to contribute to what it means to be Punjabi. I want to contribute to what it means to be an artist, what it means to be somebody from Toronto.
So nonconformity for you is predominantly sort of a personal evolution, and sort of not sort of being limited by, you know, the confines of what has been done in the past, and letting your personal journey just sort of, you know, supersede all of that?
Well, it's kind of just, you know, kind of zipping it for a bit and listening to yourself on the inside and seeing what it says, because it's kind of, you know, referring to it as non-conformity kind of makes conformity sound like the standard. And
that's what I was going to touch on. What do you think about sort of non-conformity as almost now a subgenre of art form where everyone's like, I'm non-conformist, so therefore I will do something which is alternative, which is almost a mainstream on its own.
Well, that's the funny thing too, right? Because sometimes people try so hard to fit in, and then other times people try so hard to stand out. When at the end of the day, the only time you're going to be comfortable with yourself is when you're being yourself. Regardless of if 98% of who you are as an individual matches that with everybody else. I take a lot of pride, as I said, being a typical Punjabi boy, because, you know, I was raised in that type of scenario, and I don't mind. There's positives and negatives to it. But you know, I am who I am, and I feel most comfortable when I get to be myself and be in environments that I am myself.
What are you, give me one thing that you're insecure about, because you are so at peace with yourself that...
What am I insecure about? I mumble when I speak, so I know that I overthink. When I actually record stuff, I have to overthink. And again, when I'm in a working environment with like sound engineers, they're not very considerate of my feelings when we're recording. So they'll be like, that wasn't clear, do it again, do it again. So I'm extremely mindful of that. I've kind of noticed, a lot of things that used to be, have my own insecurities, obviously, with physical appearance and what have you. I kind of realized that, I'm not noticing what other people are wearing. They're probably not paying as much attention to me. Situations like that. People try to make me feel bad for being skinny, but, I just got some modeling gigs because of it. So
there you go. I know.
It's about validation, yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk about the modeling. How did that sort of come about?
I did a couple of projects for a journalist. Related to some of the human rights issues in Sri Lanka, and she had a side passion of fashion design.
Right.
And we connected recently to do some other work, and she kind of brought it up, and she just kind of said, well, I'd want you there, because, of your look and what have you, and I would want you to do some sort of performance, but only if you fit the clothes.
Yes.
Right? Because she already had her clothes made at that point. And so I went on to the fitting, and it kind of worked out.
You do have the standard model measurements anyway, so.
Well, yeah, you know what it is too, like I've actually, in the last almost 10 years, I probably lost like 45 pounds.
Why?
It's another cost of the lifestyle, right? I
suppose, yeah.
Again, it's quite a heavy price to pay to be in this position I'm in, and I'm sure I'm going to be paying a lot more. But yeah, this isn't like who I used to be. Actually, a lot more of a medium build and a gym rat. So now I'm a lot more Euro.
You are very Euro, actually. Yes, yeah. I will concur on that.
I can just wear a size small and everything looks like it's tailor made. But yeah. But again, it's really about taking your situation, not evaluating it positive or negative, and just finding the best way to make the most of it. So,
I want to talk about your journey to India, and I think from what I believe, you not only did you sort of work. Not only did you work on an album, but you also sort of were working on a documentary on the making of the album, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, so what it was is I was brought out to India to work on actually a collaboration track.
Okay.
And it was the TV show was called The Tourist. And the premise of The Tourist is to take artists from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different genres, kind of throw them in the same place and have them influenced by their surroundings. Right. So I was sent to Goa and to meet up with the medieval pundits, who are extremely talented individuals out there, and they make, I guess to dumb it down, they make electronic music, but their scope is a lot greater than that. And also Monica Dogra, who was actually a New York native who moved out to India about 5 years ago, and she's doing extremely well there. So we were actually commissioned to do one track and kind of soak in the Goa vibes, what have you. Our chemistry was so good that we actually, for the 4 days we were there, we made a track every night. Wow. So we ended up making 4 tracks.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, and then that's probably going to lead off into a project eventually.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was such an awesome experience. It was the people out there, the mindset they have towards artistry is a lot different than people out here because they're not as money-minded out there because of the class differences or what have you. They're really interested in the art, and I know I got to win over quite a few people onto hip-hop. Because again, I know hip-hop has a certain reputation, so I do feel it's my responsibility to show people, and again, as what I say, I feel that hip-hop is one of the more superior literary arts in existence.
It's interesting because I almost feel as if that there's a duality of trying to sort of convert people on both ends. Not only are you sort of trying to convince South Asians about hip-hop being, a very expressive genre of work, you're also trying to sort of convince hip-hop artists that, a South Asian artist can actually sort of express himself. Has there ever been friction on that end?
It will, to call it friction is to acknowledge it and to give it power. Again, I would be foolish to assume that 100 out of 100 people in the room are going to enjoy what I do. Right. So, and when it mattered, I've gotten the support and I've gotten the cosigns of people who support the art form and the art form moving forward. Right. And you're talking about the history of hip hop, which is very young. It's only 30 years. Right. And when hip hop came out of New York, they weren't even okay with the idea of hip hop being expressed in the southern states or even on the West Coast. Right. So it took time for them to be open to those ideas. Yeah. So for them to be open to a dude that looks like me, taking their art form to a whole new level, it's going to take a little bit of time. But again, with time comes everything. Absolutely.
Now, in order to wrap up, I want to talk about the success one more time. At the beginning of the interview, we spoke about your inspiration, part of your inspiration being fueled by the fact that you've always been a minority, and I think that with being a minority comes an almost underdog status where you're not exactly on top watching an aerial view of it all. Yeah. Being as successful as you are, almost it sort of brings you to another sort of audience altogether where you are sitting on top. How do you keep on inspiring yourself to be the underdog when you are Humble the Poet, the star?
Well, you know what it is. What it boils down to at the end of the day, it really depends on, you know, what pond you see yourself in and the size of the fish that you feel you are.
True.
You know, when I kind of got into this, you know, I wasn't the first, you know, South Asian individual trying to do hip hop music. Most of my success, if not all of it, is attributed to my work ethic.
Okay.
And, you know, I have, you know, if you go online and look up my track, I have over 100 releases.
Right.
You know, I have probably more releases out than all these other guys put together. And that has nothing to do with my talent. That has to do with the fact of how hard I work. I'm going to continue working hard because at the same time, there's no peak to this mountain.
True.
And my aspirations in terms of what I need to do for the culture of hip-hop, what I need to do as a personal individual, you know, I have ways and ways to go.
Right.
And as everybody it is, you know, I'm looking at the back of somebody's head. And there's always somebody ahead of me, and I'm nipping at their heels, and I'm sure there's people nipping at my heels.
True.
And we're always looking forward. So for me, the music's always going to speak for itself. I'm going to always continue working harder than hard. I enjoy it. It's a labor of love. So I don't concern myself with, you know, underdog status or what have you. I have seen the change though. You know,
Right.
a lot of people did feel that I was getting a bad rap. I wasn't getting the shine I needed to get earlier in my career. Now that people are, I'm starting to get the exposure, the TV interviews,
Yeah.
you know, my stuff. Now a lot of people feel I don't deserve what I have, which is completely okay. Again, you can't make everybody happy.
True.
You know, all you can do is keep working hard.
So you've spoken about your aspirations as an artist and
Yeah.
almost as an activist for hip hop music altogether.
Yeah.
What are your personal aspirations for within the next 5 years? What would you like from life as a person?
I want to continue to travel the world. I want to
Okay.
see corners and places of the world that I haven't seen. I want to continue meeting new people. I want to continue growing as an artist to the point where I don't feel underappreciated. As I continue to grow as an artist, I always know my better stuff keeps coming. I don't want to have any glory days. You know, I want to meet a lot of pretty girls, enjoy their company. You know, I want to, you know, take this art form and give it more legitimacy. You know, in the next 10 years, I want high school students to study hip-hop the way they study Shakespeare. And I want to be the reason they do that.
That is noble. Marriage on the cards? Has
No.
the family started pushing it at all?
They have, but again, when you have a passion and a priority, you have to. I'm married to this lifestyle. I'm married to this music. It wouldn't be fair to another individual, you know, for the schedule I have and what have you. So, you know, this is going to be my priority for quite a bit. And maybe when the fun dies, I'll move on to something else.
I love that. I love that. I love that you've actually sort of defined the love of your life, and are you focusing on that? It's almost a monogamous commitment, which.
Well, again, as I said, I've given up quite a bit. I've sold all my personal possessions to fund this. I had a relationship when I started this. I lost that because of this.
Right.
You know, I paid quite a price. That, you know, when you're in the entertainment industry, your job is to make it look easy. But the reality is, anybody, even the ones that you don't feel are talented, have given up quite a bit and work extremely hard to be in the positions they're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a rewarding marriage to be in?
You know what? I do, because, you know, it's a labor of love, and your music will outlive you a lot longer. You know, and I want to be in a position like Bob Marley, John Lennon, Tupac, or, you know, Edgar Allan Poe, Khalil Gibran, people whose words have outlived them, have outlived their children, and, you know, that's the best thing I could hope.
I think that's a great sort of thing to aspire towards for any human being, not just a poet.
Yeah.
Humble, it has been such an honor. I'm honestly so at peace right now. I could honestly pass out after this interview is done. However, before we do wrap up, I know that sort of a lot of your tracks, in fact, all of them are available for free download on your website. Can you please tell our viewers where they can find your music and where they can find you on Twitter, etc.?
Yeah, so you can download all the music for free at HumbleThePoet.com or ThePoetProject.com. You can poke me on Facebook, Facebook.com/HumbleThePoet, and I do a lot of ranting on Twitter, so at HumbleThePoet.
See, I'm following him, so I think आप सब भी जाके उन्हें follow करें on Twitter, and of course contact information की बात करिए तो हमारी भी ले लीजिए info@tv1canada.com हमारा email address है, हमारा website www.tv1canada.com, हमारा phone number 416-703-2182. अगर आप हमें भी poke करना चाहें Facebook पे तो हमारा Facebook page है facebook.com/MastOne Humble. One more time, thank you very much. I am humbled by your presence. I'm telling you, I'm a budding poet right here, man.
That's awesome.
So inshallah मुलाकात जल्द होगी. Until then अपना ख्याल रखिएगा, and of course हमें हमसे राब्ता रखिएगा.
War is not the answer. Can you please repeat the question? Feel a revolution's only worth having if we're dancing. It's a pattern in our evolution. Even Mama Earth is grooving to a rhythm as she dances with her siblings. Keep it moving. Dance around the sun. Dance under the stars. Dance with the moon. Feel that beat drop from your heart. Dance around the sun. Dance under the stars. Dance with the moon. Feel that beat drop from your heart. Ain't the way, but I got no destination. I figure worry about the journey. Rest will show its face when it's time. There's no hurry, so breathe and rhyme and inhale Miss Dogra, medieval pundits and poet. You see, life is but a musical, full of highs and lows, but in harmony it's beautiful. It's only suitable you speak a truth in every move, so pound it like the bass and realize that it's all in you. 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 Sing your song and do your dance, the only way to share your truth. Repeat the question. War is not the answer. Can you please repeat the question? I heard war is not the answer. Can you please repeat the question? Feel a revolution's only worth having if we're dancing. It's a pattern in our evolution. Even Mama Earth is grooving to a rhythm as she dances with her siblings. Keep it moving.
When it jumps off, they won't check no ID. What you got inside you is all that you need. Get your fists up and shout from your heart. Cause when it all strips off, the beat is what's boss. Come dance with me, baby.
If you can talk, you can sing. If you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. If you can